Hello and welcome back to HardReset.Info. In this video, I will show you first things to do after setup on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Let's begin. And we can actually start with adjusting our screen timeout because it will be very annoying for me. So I will bump it up to 5 minutes, but of course you can bump it up to any value you want. I will also, but only like for me recording reasons only, disable adaptive brightness and lower it just a little bit, so you guys can see better what I'm actually doing. Anyway, now we can actually begin the process of tutorial, though I do notice that the brightness is a bit too low, and this should be slightly better. So, first you probably want to change the 3-button navigation if you have it different on your previous phone. For example, I really like gestures, so I'm going to show you how to switch the gestures, but if you want to keep 3-button navigation, you can always do that. In order to switch it, you want to simply head into settings, head into display, scroll down a little, go to navigation bar, and you can switch, or you can just choose whatever you want. So I will go with swipe gestures, and now, that feels much better. So what do we do then? Well, more probably the first things we want to do is to simply connect to our Wi-Fi, because it will be necessary for further setup. So we can expand our control center, we can press and hold our Wi-Fi icon, and we can go with details. Alternatively, we can close this, and we can get to that same screen if we go to the settings, connections, and Wi-Fi here at the top. Now you want to choose your own network. For me it's this one, and I will input a password to it. And if the password is correct, we should be able to connect to our network. Beautiful! So now, after we have connected, we can simply check our software updates. Technically, after setup, this should be automatic, but just in case, we want to scroll all the way down. We want to go to software update. We can go to download and install. And now we are connecting to server and we are checking for newest updates. And luckily for us, our software is up to date, so everything should be working perfectly fine. So, what's the next part of our journey of setting up our phone? Well, it's probably Google account and Samsung account, because to be honest, I don't really imagine myself using a Samsung device without neither of these accounts. So, let's start with a Google account. In order to add it, we can go into settings, we can scroll down a little, and we can head into Google or accounts and backup. It doesn't really matter. As you can see in accounts and backup, you want to go to manage accounts, add accounts, and here you want to click Google, or you can go to Google and simply go with sign in. I guess this is the faster method. But before we do that, we have to confirm a pattern, and you will notice that I actually have a pattern set up right now. Don't worry, I will show you later on how to change it if you want to. But I will set up the pattern I have set up during the setup process. And now we can enter our credentials to Google account. And just a little fun fact, you do not have to manually type in gmail.com every time, just the first part of email will be good enough. And now we need to input our password to our Google account. And if the password is correct, we simply hit next and we should be able to log in. Now we can choose who will be using this device. Because I want this tutorial to be like as broad as possible, I'm not going to really go into parental controls, but if you want to set up parental controls, maybe you don't trust your child or you have some issues in your family, you're a bad parent, it doesn't really matter, but if you want to, you can always watch other tutorial on our channel on how to set up parental controls. Anyway, I will go with next. We have to agree to terms of service, play terms of service and privacy policy of Google. And now we can enable few Google services. Most importantly, the backup. Now, having backup enabled is really important because you will never know when something unfortunate happens. Maybe you will lose your phone, maybe you will get it stolen, maybe it will randomly decide to freeze to death. Or, like, come on, you're using Fold, maybe your Fold will break in half or whatever. You want to probably enable backup data, just in case. Like, I would really strongly recommend you to do that. Anyway, after we have successfully installed our Google account, we can now begin to Samsung account. technically you don't have to, but once again, I don't really get the point of buying a Samsung phone and not having the Samsung account. So I will head into settings. You can click the sign into your Galaxy at the top, or you can also go to accounts and backup, manage accounts, add accounts, and here choose Samsung account. But once again, this is just faster. So we can now sign into our Galaxy. You can of course sign in with a Google account that you have just logged into, only if you have this account connected to a Samsung account in the first place. I will use email or phone number. I will input this email, but actually it's a bit different. It's this email, so I will go with next. And now I need to input the password to it. And just like before, if the password is correct, we should be able to log in. Though, unfortunately, it seems that I didn't input correct password, so let me try just again. And we'll try one more time with done. And that's interesting because it appears that I forgotten my password. Give me a moment. Okay, let me try that once again. And finally, sorry about that, I have forgotten that Samsung recently changed their guidelines and passwords now must include a special character. Anyway, we now have to agree to terms and conditions. Go with agree. And as you can see, we are signed in. Now, a few things already appeared. So, as you can see, we can already set up Samsung Wallet, which is completely fine. Like, you can go with Get Start. Can I please do that? Sure, we can go with Start with Bixby. Now, I don't really use Bixby personally. I like Google Gemini better. Oh, by the way, can we do a little funny thing? Oh, okay, so Gemini is already the base thing that activates on the press. That's pretty funny. Anyway, Bixby is kind of set up. Now we can have Samsung Wallet, so let's go with Get Started. And basically Samsung Wallet is pretty obvious to use. You just want to add yourself a card into it. Though we do need to use fingerprint, and I don't really want to bother with adding it right now. But setting up our Samsung is really convenient, really easy. So, you can just follow whatever you will see then. However, now that we have our Google account and Samsung account, we can head into Play Store. Inside Play Store, we want to click Get Started, and we have few things that are technically ready to go. Now, this is bloatware, but as much as I hate to say, this is technically a useful bloatware. If you will notice, there are many applications that are directly from the Google itself, and strangely, there are only few applications that are just useless, and most of them are pretty useful, like Google Drive, Google Wallet, etc. I will disable Temu because I'm not a fan of this application. The clock is also disableable because there is a built-in clock in your system. The QR code and barcode reader is pretty stupid because you can do that via Google Lens. And the chatbot AI is... I don't get it, we have ChatGPT instead. So we can go with install. If you want, you can also just skip it, that's completely fine. And anyway, what I wanted to show you is that you can go to your icon in the top right corner, go to Manage Apps and Device, and simply go with Updates. And here you will notice every single application that still has an update pending. So what's really cool about that is that you can actually just click here, Update All. Now we are installing and updating different applications, but as you can see now we have done that, and we can just update every single thing with just a simple click. That's incredibly convenient, and I would strongly advise you to do that. So, technically, we are now done-ish. As you will see, we don't really have anything bloatware related to remove. And I can actually show you very quickly the lock screen AOD, screen lock and biometrics. You want to input your current password or none if you don't have a password. And right here you have different passwords you can choose from. So if you want to set up a password or if you want to change a password, you can do it right here. Though I'm not going to do that since I actually like my pattern. And now finally we can enable our notifications and we'll see a little finish setting up our device. We can click that, And as you can see, after a few moments, we should see some features that are still not set up. And this notification should be available to everyone after performing a hard reset, or even better, after performing a setup itself. So I will now pause the recording and we'll wait for it to get ready. Now we can see something very important, the ability to copy apps and data. This is the only official way and the one shot you can do it, because if you will go with don't copy, you won't be able to do it officially. You would have to install some sort of third-party application to do it then. So if you have an older device that you want to copy apps and data from, I would strongly advise you to do it now. But because I don't really have other devices, I will go with don't copy. Now we are getting account info. As you can see, we can set up biometrics. Both of these are not time consuming, but they do take some time and the video is already pretty long, so I don't want to bother with that. I will press skip, but just so you know, we also have tutorials on how to set up a face recognition and fingerprints, so just so you know. Now we can choose our browser and search engine. By the way, it's completely fine if you don't see these options, since I actually performed the setup without Wi-Fi, so these things aren't really set up. But let's go with this combo. Now we are checking few things. And we have our Samsung wallet. We already kinda went through it, but I guess we can go with next. And we have to set a secure pin, but if I remember correctly, we can't really do it. So we can't really do a very easy, so I will just ignore that. Oh, can I go back to it? Oh, I guess that was the last part of the setup continuity, because it's gone now. Okay. I guess that after you clicked skip, that's just all of the setup you can do. And just the last thing you can do to instantly customize your phone. I know many people don't care about customization, but technically you can go to settings, go to themes, though this will require you to have a Samsung account to this. Now you want to switch from to themes, from featured to top, and from all to free only. And here you should see a nice amount of themes that you can choose from, and they will instantly change your icons, your fonts, your backgrounds, everything. Also ringtones and alarms, that's pretty cool. So yeah, though if you want to have in-depth tutorial on how to customize your phone, you can always watch our tutorial on how to fully customize your Flip 7. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you found it useful, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.